All right, listen up, because this one's going to be wild. We're talking aliens, demons, fear, the government. And we're building an autocrafter paper to emerald farm. Why? Because I need emeralds, and I'm also secretly obsessed with aliens. So today, we're doing both. Welcome to Biblecraft, where we mix faith, gaming, and the kind of deep dive rabbit holes that make your brain hurt. If you love Minecraft, the Bible, and uncovering the kind of stuff they don't want you to think about, hit that sub button. Here's what we're doing today. We're going to break down why the government is suddenly all in on UFOs and what's really happening. We're going to look at what the Bible actually says about beings from out there. And trust me, it's crazier than sci-fi. And in between, we're making an auto paper farm that prints emeralds like the Federal Reserve. Because why trade like a peasant when you can farm infinite wealth? Oh, and stick around because at the end, I'm going to drop something about UFOs that'll completely change how you see this whole alien thing. Let's get into it. Alright, so you're here. That means either you love Minecraft, you're curious about aliens, or you just have impeccable taste in content. Whatever the reason, I respect it. But let me tell you why you need to stay all the way through. First, we're going deep on the alien conversation. Not the fake Hollywood version, but the real reason why the government is suddenly pushing UFO talk like it's a new trend. Second, we're breaking down how fear has been used as a tool since forever. To control people, to shape history, and to make you think you need them to survive. And third, we're going to see what the Bible has been saying about all of this since day one. Spoiler, it's not just Sunday school stories. It's real, raw, and completely changes the way you see this entire thing. Also, I get it. This is a lot. That's why, to balance out the existential brain explosions, we're building a fully automatic paper-to-emerald farm. Because while governments print fake money, we're out here doing it better. And listen, if you dip out early, you're going to miss the absolute craziest thing I've found about UFOs. I'm saving that for later. Stay locked in. All right, let's talk about the big green elephant in the room. Aliens, UFOs, UAPs. Whatever fancy name they want to slap on it this week. For decades, if you even mentioned UFOs, people would look at you like you just told them the Earth is flat. The government denied everything. The media made sure anyone talking about it looked like some tinfoil hat-wearing, bunker-dwelling conspiracy theorist eating canned beans. And then suddenly, boom, they flipped the switch. Now the government's holding hearings. Military pilots are testifying. Government insiders are saying, yeah, we've got crash sites. Yeah, we have tech that isn't human. Just like that, we went from UFOs aren't real to, by the way, we have spaceships in record time. So what changed? Why the sudden shift in the narrative? Well, let's look at what some actual insiders are saying. Gary Nolan? Stanford professor? This dude has literally studied the brain scans of people who claim to have come into contact with UFOs. He's been in classified briefings. And he's saying straight up, the government has known for years, but they've been keeping it quiet. Then there's Stephen Greer. He's been saying forever that the government has technology way beyond anything we know about. But here's where it gets wild. He believes they're planning to fake an alien threat, like full-scale deception, a staged event to justify more control. And then you've got Jake Barber, former government contractor. He's got a different take. He says this might not even be about aliens at all. What if a lot of these encounters aren't extraterrestrial, but something much older, something darker, something that isn't from space, but from the spiritual realm? And that's where things start to get really interesting. Because if this whole alien push isn't just about visitors from another planet, then what is it about? And more importantly, what does the Bible say? Let's go there. All right, so let's get real for a second. The world is out here acting like this alien thing is some brand new revelation. Like we just discovered the universe isn't empty, and now we got to rewrite everything we thought we knew. But here's the thing. The Bible has been talking about this stuff for thousands of years. And not in some vague, metaphorical way. I'm talking about real, direct references to beings that aren't human. And no, I'm not saying Ezekiel saw a UFO and started rapping about wheel-shaped spaceships. I mean actual biblical descriptions of non-human entities that interact with humanity. Let's start with the basics. The Bible is clear. Not everything that exists was made for us to see. Ephesians 6:12 spells it out. We do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. So right there it's telling you, there's another realm. There are forces at work that most people don't even think about. And then we've got 2 Corinthians 11:14. This one's huge. It says, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. You catch that? Masquerades. Disguises. Shows up looking like something he's not. Now, I'm not saying every weird light in the sky is a demon playing dress up. But think about it. If the world is being primed to accept beings from the sky, and if the Bible warns that the enemy can disguise himself as something divine, what are the chances that this so-called alien phenomenon is just a fresh coat of paint on an old deception? And here's where it gets crazy. When you look at the descriptions of angelic encounters in the Bible, especially fallen angels, they don't sound like little green men. They sound like beings that defy our understanding of reality. They come with power, knowledge, and the ability to deceive. The book of Revelation even talks about a time when the world will be deceived on a massive scale. A deception so strong that if it were possible, even the elect, meaning the true believers, could be fooled. So let's connect the dots. The government spends decades mocking UFO believers. Suddenly they flip the script and start saying, yeah, they're real. Now we've got mainstream scientists, military officials, and even world leaders talking about preparing for contact. And at the same time, we have a biblical warning that in the end times, there will be signs in the heavens, supernatural deception, and a world that turns to something other than God. Coincidence? I don't think so. But here's the good news. If you understand what's really happening, then you can't be deceived. If you know the truth, fear doesn't work on you. And speaking of fear, let's talk about why it's the number one tool for control and how it's been used on you your entire life. Now let's talk about fear, because if there's one thing you need to understand about how the world works, it's this. Fear is the most powerful tool of control. Period. You've been programmed to respond to fear your entire life. From the moment you were born, you were taught what to be afraid of. Don't touch the stove. Don't talk to strangers. Don't fail your test or you'll ruin your future. And sure, some of that was necessary, but at some point, the people in power realised something. A scared population is an obedient population. Think about it. Every major shift in history was fueled by fear. Wars don't start without fear. Economic crashes don't happen without fear. Governments don't get more powerful unless they convince you that something out there is coming to get you. And in recent history, there's one example that proves this better than anything. COVID. Now, before you start typing angry comments, relax. I'm not saying the virus wasn't real. I'm saying the fear around it was weaponized. People were told if they didn't follow every single rule, they were putting others at risk. They were told to stay inside, avoid their friends, avoid church, avoid their own families. People lost jobs. People lost businesses. The whole world was restructured overnight. And what happened? Fear made people obey. They weren't forced. No one put a gun to their heads. But fear. Fear did the job for them. And now, here we are again. A new fear campaign is ramping up. But instead of an invisible virus, it's something from the skies. The timing's too perfect. The government releases UFO footage. Congress holds hearings. And suddenly we're being told that we need to take this seriously. Why? Because fear works. It always works, until you see it for what it is. And that's where the Bible flips the script. Because if you know what God actually says about fear, you'll realise you were never supposed to live under its control in the first place. No matter what happens in 2025, do not fear. No matter what happens in 2026, do not fear. No matter what happens in 2027, or the year after that, or the year after that. Do not fear. Because no matter what the world throws at you, God is bigger. No matter what new crisis they cook up, he already saw it coming, and no matter how bad things might look, you were not created to live in fear. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. That's not suggestion. That's not wishful thinking. That's a command from the creator of the universe. Do not fear. Not because things will always be easy, not because life won't get crazy, but because you are not alone in this. Fear is how they control people. Fear is how they keep people weak. Fear is how they make you trade your freedom for safety, your faith for comfort, your power for obedience. But God did not give you a spirit of fear. He gave you a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. So when they tell you to be afraid, don't be. When the news tries to make you panic, don't. When the world is losing its mind, when people are running in fear, when everything feels uncertain, stand firm, because you already know how this ends. God wins, and if you're standing with him, so do you. So one last time, no matter what happens next, no matter what year, no matter what they try, do not fear. All right, that's it for today. But this conversation isn't over. Because if there's one thing I want you to walk away with, it's this. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to buy into the panic, the control, the anxiety they try to push on you every single day. You were created for more. You were created to stand firm when the world shakes. And if you're rocking with this, if you want to go deeper, if you want to keep breaking out of the matrix they've set up, hit that sub button. This is just the beginning. We're going to keep building, keep learning, keep uncovering the truth. And we're going to do it all without fear. Until next time, stay sharp, stay strong, and remember, do not fear.